Hi everybody, my name is Lenora Zenzalai Helm and I am a vocal musician, a vocal musicianship coach, and the founder of Vocal Jazz Online. I teach vocalists and vocal educators how to master the language of music and how to master the art of working as a vocal musician. Thank you so much for joining us today. I'm really excited that you've come back and that this information is exciting and interesting for you. We've gotten so many great Facebook comments about the last video, and I hope that you enjoyed that and some of those perspectives and that information was helpful to you. I am really passionate about our singer community. I want singers to be nurtured and to have a place to come for really solid information that helps them to grow, to have the career that they deserve to have, and to have the resources and tools that will help them go to the next level, not only as a vocalist, but as a vocal educator. It's just awesome. The singer community has not had an opportunity to join together in this kind of work, where we have acknowledged together that vocalists have been kind of sidelined and haven't been given the kind of instruction and the kind of nurturing that we really need to have a full-fledged, successful career that we can sustain. And it's about time. It's about time now, and I'm really happy to be at the forefront of this new movement for our singer community. So welcome again. Today, I want to cover some information that is really going to make an impact and help with all those obstacles and those challenges that you've been having at being able to work consistently, at being able to grow in your music and in your craft, to bring your musicianship to the level where you can be competitive, where you can actually stand out and forge the kind of career that you deserve. You may have been feeling like, what am I doing wrong? Or what is it that I don't know that other people seem to know? Why do I seem to keep going in circles and seem stuck in the same place? It's not that you are not talented, but the time to have a roadmap is before you start the journey. And when I started my journey as a singer, there were a lot of things that I didn't know. And unfortunately, there wasn't anyone to really tell me, you should do A, B, and C, and then you will arrive at D. And the things that I wanted to achieve as a musician, I really didn't have an example of it to see, to follow. This is information that I wish I had had when I started my journey. I wish I had known that being a musician was as important as growing my talent as a vocalist. I wish that I had known that you need to work in community in a certain way. In jazz, we call it working in jam sessions. But in other styles of music, there's always the same opportunity, whether it's an open mic or whether being in singers forums or songwriter forums. But it's also a little bit more. It's not only working to make sure you have a great website. It's not only working to make sure that you have a good look or that you've really identified who you are from within and that comes out in your music. What they call branding now, that you have been true to your inner voice. So I want to revisit what we talked about in the last video, that the #1 secret all singers should know is that you are a teacher. If you are a teacher, it brings to the forefront a different mindset and a different perspective. So I want to talk about a teacher mindset, a teaching mindset. It's a little different than as it seems on the surface. Nothing is ever as it seems on the surface. So follow me on this perspective. I'm going to give you 2 strategies that are going to make it very clear why a teaching mindset is very important and what it does for you and your career. #1, it's a game changer. When you think about your music and your career from the point that you're going to be sharing every aspect of the music you create, the lyrics you write, with an audience, and that the content of what you write and what you create is for the purpose of teaching and developing values, certain perspectives and ways of looking at the world, you will think differently about everything you do. Because teachers have an innate responsibility knowing that what they'll teach is something that will have to be reproduced in the world, and that they know that there are certain outcomes that will happen from the things that they're teaching, they have a commitment to that content. They have a different relationship with everything that they're doing because they feel that sense of responsibility. And a lot of times it's not that you're not already, as a singer, that you're not already responsible, that you're not already really committed and passionate about your work. If we knew the impact that our songs and our words and our delivery and everything we do, once we're in front of an audience or once someone is reading our lyrics and listening to our music, once you understood that impact that you have as a leader, as a teacher, as a nurturer, then you will think very differently about all of the lyrics or music you create. So it sharpens your focus and it creates an intention for that space when you have the attention of listeners and of audiences. What happens is your music deepens, your music has more power. There's something about everything you do where someone in the audience will come up and say, you know, I thought you were singing just to me. Or I really was impacted by those lyrics. Wow, I couldn't believe how that story related to me. What it does is it makes everything you experience day to day all of a sudden have this heightened awareness. It could be a tornado that happened and wiped out a neighborhood. It could be someone who lost a loved one. It could be everyday events that you see in the news. But all of a sudden you're at a different awareness and you are thinking, how can I teach about that? There is an example of regular everyday life. How can I help someone with that story? How can I use that and make someone think about that in a way that helps their life? That's what I mean by singers or teachers. And if you have that teaching mindset, with everything you do in your music, your focus is sharpened, you have impact, you have power, and every song that you write, every lyric you sing will be an amazing shift for you and your audience. Okay, number 2. A teaching mindset is a road to great musicianship. A teaching mindset is a road to great musicianship. And this is what I mean. You want to think about this acronym RCCA: responsibility, credibility, confidence, and authority. Responsibility, credibility, confidence, and authority. You have a responsibility as a teacher to make sure that you are creating the right perspective, that you are transmitting the right message, that you are bringing to mind when people hear your lyrics and when they watch you sing and they watch what you are talking about in your message, in your recordings, in your albums. You want to make sure that that's something that you feel comfortable with, that it's an integrity with what your core values are. And if you're thinking about it from that mindset, a teaching mindset, you're going to stay on point and on task. It creates credibility that you know that, okay, I have to be accountable. I have to make sure that what's being heard is what I intend, and that I'm not being molded by someone else's opinion, whether it's a manager, producer, anybody, even well-intentioned, anyone who has, I'm guiding you correctly. You want to make sure that your message is authentic to you and your values. You want to make sure that people are getting the message that you intend, that it aligns with your core values, and that you are comfortable with the message that they're getting. But it also makes sure that people understand and know what you're about. You arrive on the scene, whether it's the gig, the performance, the rehearsal, whatever circumstance it is that you're going to show up for and hired for as a singer, that they know you have your stuff together. You know your information, and that you know it well. That you don't have to have someone interpret and articulate your ideas for you or translate what things mean. One of the things that really drives me bananas is singers who show up and don't know what the other instrumentalists know, and they have all this attitude and ego making up for the insecurity they feel that they don't know what that symbol is on a page. They don't know how to say, I need a rest here of 4 bars or 4 measures, or can we change this key and let's move it down a step and a half or a minor third. They don't know how to just speak a certain amount of communicative language to instrumentalists and anyone involved in that creative process, where they are understood, they get what they want, they get what they need, and they can enjoy the process. They don't have anxiety around it at all. And that's really, really important. And I've learned with all the hundreds of singers that I've worked with, that those who focus on creating good musicianship, they come with the goods and everyone respects them. Instrumentalists treat them differently. And that goes into our next C, confidence. It creates a template of confidence that you go in, you walk into a room, and you have full authority. That's what our A is for, authority. Because you've done your homework, you know what you're talking about, and you know what you need. I once had a singer watched a singer work in a rehearsal, and she was trying to tell the other instrumentalist, okay, she wanted a rest. A rest in the music, and there's a symbol for it, and there's a way to talk about it, but she didn't know how to talk about it like that. She had a great voice, beautiful person, but she was lacking in those skills and those musicianship skills. So she said, I want a musical space here. And all the singers all of the instrumentalists just groaned and mumbled under their breath. And it's that same thing that you have where the dumb singer jokes come in, and I am done with dumb singer jokes. So a teaching mindset is really, really helpful for changing the game for yourself and a road to great musicianship. I want to go over with you a 3-step plan called Musicianship 101 that helps to give your musicianship a boost and helps you to start a plan and a schedule that you can work on to develop these areas. So number 1, our number 1 problem that we usually have while we're working toward our career goals is that we don't have a mentor. You really have to have someone in your field with the experience and the training in your field that helps you. So our number 1 problem is that we are working without a mentor. And when you're working without a mentor, it's not that you can't get there by yourself, but why would you want to take the hard road? It's like someone offering you an option of the phone book or the internet, and you take the phone book. Why wouldn't you want to work with someone who has the experience and the connections to pick up the phone and get you in a door? And also, you want to make sure that you don't waste time going the same trails and problems and tribulations that have already been done. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. You can actually work with velocity and speed right toward your goal. So what's our solution? If you don't have a mentor right now, how do you begin getting one? You're going to go in your network. And if in your network you already haven't identified a mentor, you're going to reboot your network. What you want to do when you are working to find a mentor is you just want to reach out to people that you know, that you already know, and start talking about what it is you want to achieve. Sometimes we keep our desires and our wishes to ourselves because we're afraid that no one will really get it, or that people will laugh at you, or they will ridicule you and they won't agree, or they'll think that, what? You can't do that. And there will be naysayers, but it's not the critic who counts. And that's from one of my favorite quotes by Theodore Roosevelt. It's really just all about what you want in your heart of hearts. Don't die with your music in you. Don't die with your dreams in you. If I had listened to all of the people who told me I would never be able to sing, what did I think I was up to, traveling and leaving the city where I grew up and going across the country? I mean, I can't tell you how many ways. I told you a little bit about that in my story in the first video, but I can't tell you the ways that I had to just ignore everybody and focus on my dreams. And when you have a dream in your heart that you really want to achieve, that dream was put there for a reason. And the same seed that fed your heart song, fed your dream, is also there to have mastery in that dream. And the door to that is a mentor. So this is what you want to do. You want to start talking to your friends, your family, your Facebook buddies. You just want to start talking about what it is you want to achieve. Hey, just like when you need a dentist, when you need a doctor, when you need a moving company, you get referrals. And you would be surprised that maybe a mentor that's perfect for you is one or two persons removed from somebody already in your network. A mentor also is a door to a sponsor. A mentor and a sponsor are two of the most important helpmates that you can have in your career. And a sponsor is actually someone who may not work with you one-on-one like a mentor would, but they would be somebody maybe that the mentor is being mentored by, or is a colleague or a peer. And that sponsor can open a big door and have a big opportunity through your mentor. I'll give you an example. One of my musician friends that I work with also in Branford Marsalis, you may know him, well-renowned musician and educator. And I knew he was working on a project where he needed musicians. And I was mentoring a young person who was very talented, and I knew that they would be great, and was able to say, hey, Branford, why don't you check out this person? They're really talented, they're wonderful, they're great to work with, dependable, etc. One thing led to another, and that person ended up on the soundtrack of a Broadway musical that Branford was working on the music for. Now, that person didn't necessarily know Branford one-on-one, but through the recommendation and through the relationship of that mentor-mentee, that mentee had the benefit of the relationship and got a sponsor to go to the next level in their career. Invaluable. Invaluable. So you really want to work on getting a mentor, and don't be shy and don't think, oh, a mentor, I have nothing for a mentor to work with. At every level of your development and your career, you can have mentors, and when the time is ready, when you've heard that old adage, when the student is ready, the teacher appears, you'll be surprised. You just have to start. Beginnings have great power, and it gives you the ability to say, oh wow, okay, great, someone believes in me. So you want to get a mentor. Problem number 2. Are you working by yourself? Are you working in your little silo alone? I did that for so long, and I didn't realize how I was making my journey longer, and I was wasting time sometimes, or I was beating my head against the wall when I really I needed the help of someone and didn't know what I didn't know. And if you're working by yourself, stop doing that. Don't do that. You don't have to. What you want to do is get in community. You want to get in community. This is a sticky subject for some musicians, because some musicians feel like, oh, I don't want people to know what I'm doing. I don't like the scene. I don't like the community. People are catty or selfish, or they don't want to be helpful. They keep things close to their chests, etc., etc. I've heard all of the reasons why people don't reach out and form a community or work in community. And I'll tell you, change your perspective. Change your mind. If you change your mind, you can change your outcomes. Change your perspective. If you get in community, you will have the opportunity to grow, and you can be inspired by others. If you get in community, you begin to develop that network that you need. If you get in community, you start to learn what other people know, and you are able to look and say, oh, maybe that's something I should be working on. Or to get word of opportunities, of gigs, of resources, of kinds of things you can apply for. A community can feed you, and you can feed it. It's an opportunity to give. And remember when we talked about networking being your door to getting a mentor, you can also think about getting in community and developing a network as giving. We think about networking in the wrong way. And we think about community in the wrong way. A community is an opportunity for you to create a circle of giving. There is an African philosophy about networking where you are in connection and in community and in a network with other people for the purpose of giving. Not that you develop a list of people who can do things for you. You get their business card, you call them up, and you kind of develop a relationship with them, but underlying is not any authentic engagement or relationship for them. You want to be able to say, hey, this is what I do, what do you do? Great, let's work with each other. Maybe we can collaborate. Maybe we can write songs together. Maybe you have knowledge of a piano player that I need. I have knowledge of a guitar player you need. I know someone who can do X, you know someone who can do Y. And that way you are all deepened and resourced with and for each other for the benefit of the community. You'll be surprised what happens. When you think about things like this circle widens and grows and nurtures everyone that's in it. If you are not someone who really is comfortable with doing that, that's a good indicator. I can bet you that you're having problems in your career, because poor receivers always have a lack. They need something. You've broken the cycle. You've broken the circle. For giving to work, there needs to be a giver and a receiver. So if you don't allow someone to give to you, and if you are not giving to someone, that circle is broken. And it may seem like a touchy-feely kind of idea, but it is just science. Day, night, yin, yang. So you are part of that circle, whether you're participating in it or not. It's a law, a natural law, a law of reciprocity. And that law works just like gravity works. So allow yourself to engage in new kinds of thinking and new kinds of behavior that will deepen your activities, that will help you build the kinds of skills that pave a way for your musicianship to grow, because in that network and in that community are people who can help you get to this next solution of this next problem. Okay, now we are at step 3 of our 3-step plan. Our skills are stagnant. And this is where the rubber meets the road. You have to develop your musicianship. And you may be asking yourself, how do I do that? We've already established all the reasons why good musicianship is important and what it'll do for your career, what the benefits are. But how do you get there? How do you do it? Well, we've talked about rebooting your network and engaging in community. Those are 2 very good ways to be able to find the kind of person to help you schedule a work plan to develop your musicianship. It's really best to do it with a vocal musicianship coach. You can work with an instrumentalist who will help you. Let's say you know a guitarist or a piano player or an instrumentalist who's willing to teach you some of the things you need to develop your musicianship. But you really need a vocalist to teach you how to put those concepts and apply it in your voice. You want to make sure that you are equally as adept as the instrumentalist that you're working with at talking about music. What's on the list of things that you need to know as a vocal musician to develop your vocal musicianship? You need to know how to be able to find ideas melodically. You need to be able to be comfortable with changing the melody. Where do you start changing the melody? What are the things that you do use? What are the notes that you choose? How do you develop chords and being able to hear? You cannot sing what you can't hear, and you can't develop that ear just singing the same major arpeggios that you get in your vocal lessons or your minor arpeggios that you get in your vocal lessons. You need specific scales that help you do that. You need to work on rhythm and counting. You need to work on being comfortable with changing keys or how to find your key. You need to know how to improvise the melody. You need to know how to write your songs. When I first started working on singing my own songs, I realized that I knew very little about how to put a song together. I knew very little about how to find what key the song was in. This is before I started studying music. And as I started studying music, I would do what most singers do. 99% of singers do this. They hear a melody, they may come up with a lyric, then they go and find an instrumentalist to help them with the song. But when you do that, that helper with the song becomes a co-writer. So you are actually leaving money on the table in publishing, music publishing royalties, because you automatically have to get a co-writer. And as I learned more about music, as I developed my musicianship skills, I was empowered to work in a way and collaborate as I needed to and as I wanted to, but not because I was deficient in some of my skills. And that vocal musicianship coach can help you. So if you schedule a work plan, if you schedule a daily plan where, okay, I'm going to work on my work plan that my vocal musicianship coach gave me for a certain amount of time, an hour a day on, maybe I'm going to work here on melodic ideas. Maybe I'm going to work an hour on this particular day. On Tuesday, I'm going to work on how to find my key. On Wednesday, I'm going to work on writing out my music in a lead sheet so that I can take it to my next rehearsal and work with my piano player, guitar player, or whomever. Or Thursday, I'm going to work on my chords, and I'm going to work on hearing certain kinds of chords where my ear can grow. If your ear is at a very basic level, your songs are going to be at a very basic level. If you can't go outside the box, you know, color outside the lines, there's a certain way to think about it as a singer, singing outside the lines. How do you do that? And singers keep themselves stuck because they don't create a plan for that. So if you create a plan, you could engage people in your network and community to start to find that vocal musicianship coach you can work with, or identify the things you need to work on until you find someone to work with. And when you have that plan, you stick to it. If you don't schedule it, it doesn't happen. If you don't schedule it, it doesn't happen. There's a book I love called Change Anything, and one of the things that identifies in this book is there's several writers for the book. And one of the things they identify, it's not that you can't change your habits, your health, whether it's your health, you want to quit smoking, whatever it is that you want to change. It's not that you don't have the willpower. You need to know what factors help you create change and sustain it. And so you need to have one of the major things they pointed out was that you needed to have a buddy, a peer to work with. And when you have community and a network, you can identify someone that you can workshop with and woodshed with. We call that in the jazz community woodshedding. Just the other day, I was working with several of my singer friends, and we had such a ball. We were working on music and singing, and one of us was like, oh, I didn't realize that I didn't know how to harmonize in that particular song. I want to work on that song a little deeper. When you're working by yourself, you really can't identify that. But if you schedule that into your plan, getting together and going to an open mic, going to woodshed with other singers, being able to see where you are in relation and in comparison to others, you can really change things. So that's our 3-step plan, Musicianship 101. I hope that helped you, and I hope that you heard something today that really inspires you and moves you towards your dreams. Remember, you are a teacher, you are a leader, and as a singer, you are part of a community much wider and bigger than you know. So join with me together, and you and I can change our singer community one singer at a time. If you enjoyed what you heard today, please leave us a comment and let us know what you thought. Share this information with other people, and I hope to see you in our next video. Our next video will be about the 5 biggest myths singers face and some strategies to help bust those myths right out of the water. My name is Lenora Zenzalai Helm, and I am yours in music.